All right, so it's around 12:02 where we are here in Toronto, Canada, so I think we can get started. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to BioRender 101, Improving Communications Through Visuals. There's actually two of us here on the line right now, my colleague Phil and I, and we'll be giving sort of a crash course of the program today. And our goal today is actually to provide you with a taste of what our platform can do and empower you to do right from your computer and improving your science communication. So I hope my audio is okay. Let me know in the chat box if my audio um, doesn't sound okay or fails at any point, and I'll be happy to fix that. And on that note, I guess a few housekeeping things. There's actually a chat box, and you're welcome to comment and talk with your fellow colleagues and interact with all of us. But just a quick tip, if you would like other attendees to see what you're writing, you actually do have to select send to all panelists and attendees option on your chat. For some reason, Zoom just kind of defaults to writing to panelists only, so it'll say private. But yeah, feel free to answer or ask any questions there, and we'll answer that throughout the session. And if you do have any questions throughout the webinar today, you can also submit them to our Q&A, and that can be found at the bottom of the webinar view. And we'll be monitoring your questions today and interacting with you all. Yeah, and on that note, I'd love to get to know all of you as well. So I'm just going to launch a quick poll right here just to get an idea of who we have with us in the room today, I guess in this virtual meeting room. So the questions are, what is your current area of study, work, or research? And you can select multiple, select all that apply. I apologize if we missed any fields here. I think Zoom kind of limits to 10 options, but if it's not in the one of the options, feel free to write that in the chat box. And this is just to give us an idea so we can really make the session more relevant for you today. The second question is actually, have you used BioRender before? So let us know what your experience level is, and we'll figure out whether we have to start more basic or advanced. So I'll let the poll run there for a bit, and just to give everyone a chance to answer there. But all right, let's get started. So today, throughout the webinar for the next hour or so, roughly, we'll be going through a very brief, maybe 5 to 7 minute background of BioRender. But for a majority of today's session, we'll actually be in the app covering both the basic and advanced features and give you a bit of a crash course on how to use the program. And before we get started, I did want to quickly introduce myself. I figure since we'll be together for the next hour or so, my name is Francesca, and I'm the Scientific Communications and Customer Success Manager here at BioRender. I have a bit of science and research background. I did biomaterials research here at the University of Toronto for a few years before actually joining the BioRender team. So I think I can relate to everyone here about the struggles of trying to create publication-worthy figures on PowerPoint, and hopefully I can help with this today. And yeah, and as I mentioned, I also have Phil on the line with me. Phil, did you want to give yourself a quick introduction?
Yeah, thanks for that, Francesca. Nice to have everyone here today. As Francesca mentioned, my name is Phil. I'm on the business development team here at BioRender, and really looking forward to showing you all what BioRender is all about.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, so anyways, enough about us. I'm going to give you a short background of BioRender. So Shiz Aoki, our CEO and co-founder, actually studied medical illustration at Johns Hopkins, and her professional career kind of led her to become the lead scientific illustrator that was contracted at National Geographic for over a decade and created many beautiful scientific visualizations like the one you see in front of you right now. And on the side, she also worked very extensively with scientists and popular academic journals such as Science and Nature. And during this time, she kind of identified that most scientists and labs in the academic space didn't really have the budget or the resources or the connections really to collaborate with professional medical illustrators to really visually translate their science. So they'd end up using PowerPoint or something similar, spending hours trying to make illustrations just to articulate their work and create an array of figures that look like the ones in front of you right now. And being part of the research community, I'm sure many of you have seen figures similar to these. And I don't really think it's a fault of the researchers. I think it's mainly due to the fact that there just aren't enough resources for scientific illustrations. Yeah, so if we take a look at this one, I'm pretty sure this one was maybe made on Microsoft Paint, maybe this one as well. This one might have actually been made on PowerPoint. So this in turn kind of led to everyone coming up with dozens of different ways to essentially show the same pathways or reactions or methods with different degrees of success. For example, the 12 that you see in front of you right now are really just a tiny fraction of the attempts at visualizing a very foundational concept in immunology, which is just antigen presenting cells, presenting antigens to T cells. So if you take a look at this, just imagine yourself being a student or a lecturer, even trying to relearn or reteach all these concepts over and over again, and having to re-navigate yourself around every time. It does become more time consuming and a little difficult to do so. So that's just kind of the idea of how BioRender started and came along. We kind of asked ourselves what would happen if biomedical illustrators somehow made all the graphical elements to create these scientific figures, standardize them, and made them available to scientists. Would the scientific community, such as yourselves, then be able to put them together and make your own compelling and clear illustration? So that was a question that we asked, and that was kind of the seed of how BioRender got started. So this is just a quick snapshot of how BioRender works. It's slightly sped up, but not too far off from the real deal of how quickly you're actually able to put a figure together. And our hope is that will not only help in the figure creation making process and make that a lot faster, but really to make the reviewing and consumption of information easier and faster as well. All right, so these are just the common use cases of BioRender. So the top kind of main use cases are publication figures, presentations, and also lab meetings. We've had a lot, I've seen a lot of interesting ways that people have used figures as well. So I've seen stuff as like YouTube videos, email correspondences, patents, and the list really goes on. Wherever you kind of need to communicate your science, you can probably throw in a visual in there, make it a lot faster and a lot easier. All right, so our goal is to really give everyone the tools and the practical knowledge to visually communicate their research. And without further ado, I'm going to actually pass over my baton to my colleague Phil, and he'll take you through the application and give you a demo of how it works.
Thanks for that, Francesca. Could you please allow me to share my screen?
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. Sorry about that.
No problem. Also, in the meantime, we did have some questions on whether or not the webinar will be recorded and how it will be distributed. Did you want to touch on that before we hand it over?
Yeah, sure. So the webinar will be recorded and it will send as a follow-up email. So you should keep a lookout on your inbox for that recording.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Francesca. Can everybody see my screen there?
Yep, looks good, Phil.
Awesome. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Yeah, as Francesca mentioned, my name is Phil. Nice to have you all here today. Really excited to show you what BioRender is all about. So I know that we have some people here that have never tried BioRender, also some BioRender veterans. So happy to kind of give a full overview of our platform here today. So as you can see here, BioRender is web-based. So there's nothing to download, anything like that. You simply go to biorender.com to get started. So as you can see here, this is our website, and here's a quick little snapshot of how it works. We'll definitely get into all the tools today as well. So you are able to sign up for free, as you can see here on the top right. So I encourage you to do so if you don't currently have an account. The free version does limit you to 5 illustrations, and you're unable to publish using the free version. But it's definitely a useful tool to try out and see if BioRender is useful to you. Odds are your institution may already have an institutional license. So it's always a good idea to check in maybe with your department or your IT department at your school. Without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get started? So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And since I do have an account, it's going to sign me right in and bring me to this page. I'll go ahead and log in. And from here, it's taken me to my gallery view. I like to call this my home base because it kind of houses all of my old illustrations and it allows me to get started easily with a new one. So as you can see here, it says my illustrations, and that's kind of the old figures and illustrations that I worked on in the past. So they do save automatically, so no need to worry about that there. And if you ever want to go back to a particular part of the figure that you were working on, all you do is go to version history, and you can go to a particular point in that figure. And we'll definitely touch on that more today throughout the demo. So for getting started with a new figure, you can either start with a new illustration or with a template. So we have over 1,000 templates now, I believe, and we're adding more and more every day. But why don't we go ahead and get started with the blank illustration just to show you what it's like to get started from scratch. So all you do is simply go to the left-hand side here, click on the plus sign, and then it takes you to this page. Why don't we go ahead and name this figure 1, and then we can choose our illustration size from here. So whether you're preparing a figure for a journal, a poster, a slide, or even a custom image, you can kind of modify it there. As you can see here, you can modify the width and the height. For this demo, we're going to get started with the slide size, sorry. And you can always change that throughout the demo as well if you need to. So why don't we go ahead and create illustration. So this takes us here to our canvas view. So on the right-hand side, this is where I like to say where the magic happens. So this is where you actually would create your figure in illustration. But why don't we go through all of the tools that you have available to create your actual illustration. So we'll start on the right-hand side here. So as you can see, you have a few tools here. So simple zooming tool if you want to really zoom in there or zoom out, that's available there. You can show the ruler tool to kind of gauge sizing, and you can also add grid lines as well. As we move along, as you can see on the bottom here, we do have a chat that you're able to click on and directly chat with one of our customer support reps. We are available 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you do have a question outside of those hours, we're happy to get to them as soon as possible. We also have our FAQ and help guide here. So if you do have a question, odds are another user has had a question before. So all you'd have to do is simply search for something, whether it's account basics, billing and plans, copyright related. The list really goes on. And we're always here to help you out if you can't find something in our FAQs, as mentioned before. Right here, you can see a little keyboard here on the bottom right, and this is our keyboard shortcuts. So BioRender allows you to create figures very quickly, and this allows you to create figures even quicker with our shortcuts. All right. So as we move along, you'll see on the left-hand side here, this is where our icon library resides. So as you can see here, it is the holidays, so we do have some holiday icons available. We can definitely show some of those off today. But if you are looking for icons in our library, all you have to do is simply search for an icon, or you can go to the categories. So let's say we are searching for a mouse, for example. As you can see here, we have a number of different mice available here. We have a cute one here with a little holiday hat. But as you can see, all you have to do is search and you'll pretty much find what you're looking for. Maybe we want to search for a mouse with a tumor. And all we have to do once we do find what we're looking for is just simply click on it, drag it over to our canvas here, and there we have our mouse. So you may have noticed that this icon actually has a purple bounding box on the bottom left. This is actually known as a grouped icon, if you see that. So what a grouped icon is, it allows you to actually separate the different parts of the icon. So all you have to do if you are using a grouped icon is click on the grouped icon, ungroup it right here, click away, and then you can separate the different parts. Maybe we want to get rid of this tumor. Maybe we want to change the color there of the mouse, and we can also change the color here. And let's group it back together. There we go. So as we kind of move along, we did touch on the icons. So we do have over 40,000 icons currently available in our icon library. And if you are looking for something and you can't seem to find it, not to worry. We do have a medical illustration team in-house that you can actually reach out to request a custom icon right here on the bottom left. I'm not sure if you could see my cursor there, but all you'd have to do is click on request a custom icon, give us a little bit of a description, maybe include some images, and our medical illustration team would actually create it for you if you're on a paid license. So as we kind of move along here, you can also dive into our templates right through the library here. So you don't actually have to get started with a template from the start. You can just simply add one in. Maybe you're trying to show a pathway. As you can see, there's a number available. And it kind of works the same way where you can just search for a template or go through the different categories. So obviously COVID-19 here is at the top. It's a very popular subject right now, and we have lots of templates for that. As we kind of move along the left side here, we do have a brushes tool, which we'll definitely get into today, which allows you to kind of grow your icons in real time. So for example, as you can see here, I personally love doing it with DNA. So this DNA brush, you just drag it over and simply grow that like so. So you'll notice these little white nodes, which you can actually pull on to kind of make it your own and really customize it as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and easily delete that. Just hover over it and click delete. So as we move along on the left-hand side here, all you have to do, if you do want to store some of your favorite icons that you work on, that you use all the time, all you'd have to do is store it in favorites, and there you go. You won't have to search for it anymore. It'll be in your favorites folder there. You can also upload images directly from your computer. So let's say we wanted to pop in our logo there. As you can see, like so. You could pop in your institution's logo. I like to do it a bit like this. Maybe lower the opacity. And there you go. And you could kind of upload almost any images to your figure from your computer. So we also do plug directly into the protein data bank. So I'm not sure how many people here work with proteins and the PDB, but all you'd have to do here is go to create protein and simply enter the PDB ID, and then it would load your protein, and it would show up something like this. And it's the same way as BioRender works, you just drag it over, and you have your protein there. So now that we've gone over the kind of icons, the templates, the brushes, the favorites, the uploads, and the PDB on the left-hand side, I'd like to bring your attention to the top over here to show you some of our contextual controls. So as you can see here, we have a number of different tools available for you. So I've been with BioRender now about 2 years, and I've really learned about how important arrows are when it comes to telling us a story. So we did try and give you as many arrows as possible, as you can see here. So why don't we use one for our mouse here today to kind of show what's going on. So sorry, simply click on it and just kind of drag it in like that. And as you can see, you'll see a little white node there that allows you to kind of customize it as much as you like. And I don't know if you'll notice, but you'll notice the snapping in place like so, which is definitely really useful. I personally find it very useful. So why don't we go ahead and kind of fill this figure out to see how easy it is to complete a quick figure here. So I'm going to want to copy this mouse. I'm using a keyboard shortcut right now. Easily copied it. Put that there. Let's maybe look for a syringe. Drag it over. So this is not a grouped icon. As you can see, there's no purple bounding box on the bottom left. So this is just a singular icon. So there you have it. We have the syringe going into the tumor. And from here, we're going to ungroup this one and show that our tumor has gotten smaller. Looks like our mouse is getting better here. So that's good news. So you can also add text in, as you can see here. So we'll go ahead and add text in here. We'll just call it figure one, but obviously I'm sure you can get more creative than that. That's all I have for now. You can also add text in here to kind of just add the steps in. As you can see. And there we have it. So that's a simple figure. Obviously, it's very simple, and I'm sure you're working on a lot more stuff that's more in depth, and we'll definitely get into another figure shortly. But Francesca, were there any questions that I could touch on?
Great. Thank you for that, Phil. One question that we had is, could we show how to upload their own figures or icons to BioRender?
Yeah, of course. So you mean from the computer? Is that correct?
Yep. So if you just go to uploads right there, maybe how to
Yeah.
upload an image. Yeah.
Yeah. So all you'd have to do is go to upload files here, and you'll find something kind of on your computer, um, like so. You could also drag over an image directly into your your figure here. So let me see if I have something that I could pull from my computer here. So there we have it. I've uploaded the logo there. It's that simple, really. Did that answer your question?
Yes, I think it did. Thank you, Phil.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So why don't we kind of move along here? Alrighty. So I think we're happy with this figure here. So let's say you're ready to go and you want to share it with your team. So all you have to do here is go to the top right to show share with. And this would take you to this page here. So you can either send your figure in an email. So all you'd have to do is enter the email here, maybe a quick message telling your colleague or team member or friend kind of what your figure is all about. You can also share it with your team um, on BioRender if your team is using it. As you can see here, I'm part of the sales team here. So I would go ahead and share it with them um, very easily, and it would pop up in their account there. When you do want to export a figure, all you have to do is go to export. And as you can see here, we support PNGs, JPEGs, and PDFs. Our resolution, 72 dpi, 150 dpi, and 300 dpi. All you'd have to do is click export, and then would then get downloaded onto your computer. Why don't we go ahead and get started with another figure a little bit more complex. So I did just want to show you how everything worked to see if there were any questions there. But let's really get into it now. So same thing, all we'd have to do, oh, and before I do move into that, as you can see here, it did save automatically for figure one. Um, and as mentioned, all you'd have to do is go to version history, and it would take you to this page where you could actually see the different points of our figure, which is pretty neat. So all you'd have to do is, let's say you want to go back to this point and start from here, you'd make a copy of this version, and it would show you that right there. So it wouldn't affect the final copy. So if you wanted to kind of modify it, it would not affect the final copy that you completed. So why don't we go ahead and get started on another figure? So we'll name this one figure two because it is our second figure that we're working on today. Um, as and we'll definitely get started with the slide size as well. And what we're going to do today is we're going to do a figure of a CAR engrafted T cell and a tumor cell. So let's go ahead and look for a T cell. As you can see, there's some neat ones here on the top left. I personally like this one. This is, once again, a grouped icon. As you can see, the purple square on the bottom left. All we have to do, click on it, drag it over. Very simple to use, as you can see, and you can kind of modify it from here. So let's go ahead and modify this. So I would like to maybe rotate it a bit. Let's say like so. As you can see, it's very easy to rotate. And I think I like that. I'm going to go ahead and ungroup it. As mentioned earlier, this is a grouped icon. So we're going to go ahead and ungroup it. And maybe we want to move this guy over here. Make it smaller. Like so. And I'm going to want to change the color of this one as well to kind of match our T cell here. So do we think this one matches? I think so. I think that's a good green right there. And we can go and group it back up. So I personally love the grouping feature. It really allows me to simply just modify different parts of the icon and then get back to it and keep working on my figure. So as we move along here, let's go look for a tumor cell. As you can see here, we have a number of different tumor cells here. I'm going to use this one for today. Just simply drag it over, and there we have it. We have our tumor cell there. And as we move along, Francesca, any questions so far on this figure from the group today?
No questions. Maybe if you could highlight how to decrease and increase opacity to make things transparent versus not transparent. That was one of the questions earlier.
Yeah, of course. So opacity is really cool. So all you have to do is click on, let's say, our cancer cell here. As you can see up in our contextual controls, you'll see opacity right here. You can kind of lower it like so.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem, Francesca. So we're going to go ahead and put it back up to 100%. And we are going to keep moving along with our figure today. So what else do we need here? Maybe we want to make this one a little bit bigger. There we go. Maybe we need a receptor. Okay, let's see. I like this one. So I'm going to easily drag it over again, rotate it, pop it in here, make it a little bit smaller, pop that in there like so. I'm going to ungroup it and I'm going to change the color. There we go. Or you know what? Oh, we're going to keep this black like so. Um, And we're gonna maybe, there we go. Alrighty. So as we kind of move along here, I'm gonna look for a car protein. And if you do make a spelling mistake, which I do all the time, I apologize for that. All you have to do is our library will probably catch it. So if you're close enough, you'll probably find it. So I'm looking for car protein. Let's say I made a mistake. Odds are we would find it um, easily. But there we go, another grouped icon. All we'd have to do is drag it over. And from here, this is obviously a little large. We're gonna make it smaller there. We're gonna, oh, sorry about that. We're gonna rotate it there. Pop that in right there, like so. And I'm gonna change the color of this one right here. So we could ungroup it and kind of change the colors one by one if we'd like. Just to kind of show you what it's like to use the grouped icon feature to really get right in there. All right. Alrighty. So as you can see here, we're moving along and we're gonna go ahead. I'm actually gonna go ahead and um, pop in an arrow. So as you can see, number of different arrows available. Um, you can go ahead. Let's maybe pop in this one right here. And this doesn't make much sense. So simply drag it like so. Maybe we want to make it a little higher like that. And maybe we'd like to pop in some DNA there. So as you can see here, I'm going to just pop in this one right here. Very simple to use, very easy to use. And a lot of time is being saved um, with doing it this way. So as we move along, we want to kind of round off the figure here. We'll add in cytokine. As you can see, I made a spelling mistake there, as I mentioned earlier. All you have to do, as you can see, is it does catch it. But maybe I like this one or this one. Just pop it right in there like so. Or you know what? I'm going to use a different one actually. Nope, this is the one for me. Yep, that's the one I like. Maybe you want to rotate it like that. And so our goal is to allow you to kind of create figures as fast as possible and have the ability to customize it as much as possible. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add another arrow. This is personally my number one favorite arrow. You know, it's kind of funny. I have a favorite arrow now, but I do. So this one really allows you to grow your arrow, as you can see. And we're going to go ahead and kind of round it off there. And there we have it. So maybe we want to add some text in, just to kind of show what's going on here. So as you can see, you can change the color of your text. So we're going to go ahead and do that. make it match. And there we have it. A simple figure, but let's say I did also I want to go back to my uploads that I took from my computer. Um, this is our company logo, so we'll do that, but you could do that with your university. Maybe if you have a lab logo, pop it in there, um, and lower the opacity. So it really blends in very nicely there. Actually, I like the bottom right. There we go. And maybe we want to name it here. And there we have it. So same thing as last time. All you have to do is either share it with your team via email, share it with your team via your team, and it's really that simple. And something to touch on, when you do share it with your team within the app, it does make a copy. So similar to the version history, your original copy won't be affected if they do make changes to it. So are there any questions on the figure we just created or anything I can kind of cover um, right now? Francesca, any questions?
Not right now. Thank you, Phil.
No problem. All right, let's kind of keep moving along. Oh, something also to note, I personally really like this. So as you can see, there's some gray space around the canvas here. So that you can kind of, let's say you're working on something. I'll just use a membrane for this one. Um, let's say you're working on something and you're just trying to show a little bit of it, as you could see. Only the part of the figure in the white is what will be shown in your figure. So whatever's in the gray area, you don't have to worry about. And it's almost like a little area to kind of store stuff you're working on, drag it in, drag it out, and then go to preview and it'll show you what your final figure will look like. But let's go back to our home base, also known as our gallery. And as you can see, our figure there has popped in. And these were the figures we worked on earlier. So why don't we go ahead and dive into our templates, which I think are really, really cool. So we're going to go to see all BioRender templates here. And as you can see, when you do go to our templates page, it does take you to this page here where you can see all of our templates. As mentioned earlier, there are a number of different template categories available. And as mentioned earlier, it is the holidays. So we are doing something fun with holiday e-cards if you did want to send one off. This one down here is personally my favorite one. I think it's very cute. But let's go ahead and see kind of which templates we have today. So similar to the icon library, all you have to do is search for a template here. Let's say you know what you're looking for. So let's say I'm looking for an NFKB signaling pathway. As you can see here, there's one right here. This is the one I like. So all I'm going to do here is click on it. It'll give you a bit of a description here. So as you can see, it does tell you a bit what this template is all about. And we do have a templates team in the house that are creating these. They are all kind of professionally vetted by our team, so they are all accurate. So let's say we want to get started with a template. Why don't we go ahead and dive in here? We'll go to use template, or you could share it directly with someone from here. But let's go ahead and use template just for this example. So as you can see here, this is the template that we just actually clicked on. So it takes you to your canvas view as we were just working on, but this is already a pretty much ready-made figure, but you're able to modify it as much as you'd like, as you can see here. So maybe you want to even change the color. and it's very simple, fully customizable. And as mentioned earlier, as you can see, this little space on the gray area, that's not going to pop up in your figure. It is on the gray area, so this is all you will see. But let's go back into our templates. So I know that something very common for our templates, for example, I did see recently someone used this template, the life cycle of the coronavirus, as you can see here. It's a very popular one these days. And someone did kind of use our template and then translate it to their native tongue, so the language of their country. I believe it was Mandarin. But yeah, so definitely lots of use cases for templates. And we're happy to kind of take suggestions for new templates. We're always working on them daily. So it is just loading here for a second. I apologize for that. As you can see here, um, this is our template for the life cycle of coronavirus, COVID-19. Um, and as mentioned earlier, you can kind of modify it as much as you'd like. You could add text, and it's very easy to use. So as mentioned earlier, just in case someone did miss this, if you are looking for something and you can't seem to find it, you can always request a custom icon on the bottom left-hand side here, and our medical illustration team will create it for you. Alrighty, and as you can see here, both of our templates here, they're just taking a second to load, but both of our templates did save automatically, and yeah, right there. So I'd love to kind of open the floor to maybe take some suggestions. If anyone wants to see any templates or see any particular icons, I'm happy to kind of show those off. As I mentioned earlier, there are over 40,000 icons, so we can't get through all of them today. But happy to kind of show some off and see if we have kind of what you're working on.
Awesome, Phil. Maybe we can share the poll results and then we can go based on people's fields.
Sure. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and share those? That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
it seems like not everyone got a chance to vote, but it seems like we have a lot of people in this molecular and cell biology space, biochemistry,
Hmm.
oncology, and immunology. And then most of you haven't used BioRender yet.
Awesome. So for those of you that haven't used BioRender yet, I encourage you to sign up for our free version today. But let's go ahead and look for some templates. Um, so let's say we want to type in cell biology.
It seems like we also have a question from the audience. Do you have any icons and cells seated in plates? So maybe you could show a few
Yeah,
lab protocols, cell culture plates, and stuff like that too.
yeah, let's do that. We'll get started with a cell culture plate. Any of these
We also
look,
have a really cool wall plate. So if you're using like 96 wall plates all the way to 300 plus wall plates, we have wall plates that you can edit individual, uh, I guess, wells in them, which
mhm.
is pretty cool. You can look them up in our grouped icons. We have templates for well plates as well.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead into the well plates and show some of those off today?
So I
As
think if you scroll to the bottom, yeah, it's like those ones. So there's a 12 one, there's a 96 wall plate. And then, yeah, all you have to do here is just double click on any of the walls and you can change the individual cells. So if you ever need to visualize you labeling anything, maybe one of your experiments or protocols, you can feel free to do that too here.
Yeah, so as you guys can see here, I've ungrouped this icon. So anything with a little purple box, once again, is a grouped icon. and I can kind of change the color of each one individually, as you can see here. So I believe this is a 12 well plate, 96 here, and 24 up there. But yeah, any other
Awesome.
questions on well plates?
I'm not sure about that. It seems like we do have, can you make a template and then use it as an icon in a different template? So we can do that actually. We can use a template and then pull up other templates and add them to the canvas. Maybe you can show the audience how to do that.
Yeah, of course. So as you can see here, here are some of our feature templates here, right in your icon library on the left-hand side. So as mentioned earlier, you can get started with one from the gallery view, or just pop one in easily here. So let's say we want to kind of use one here. All we have to do is add it to the illustration like so.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Taylor, all you have to do is add a second template here. So once you have this template, you can even add another one, this exported as a grouped icon. Um, and then maybe you could combine it with another template and use that as an icon too. So that's just the difference between when you click on one of the templates, there's a button that says, could you click on, yep, could you just click on that one? There's a button that says replace illustration, which is it changes your whole figure to that template, and then add illustration on the right side is it just brings it up as an icon to your existing image. We do have insulin resistance pathways. Maybe you can highlight some insulin pathways here. I'm just going through the questions. It seems like we have a few different ones here.
Some great questions.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see here, here's a insulin production pathway here. We'll go ahead and add it to our illustration.
Awesome. Another question is if you want a different background than white, can you show them how to change the background color?
Of course. Yep.
So I think you just have to go to edit on your top toolbar and then change background color.
Yeah, so it'd be canvas color
Yeah.
here. And all you have to do, as you can see, different colors here. So whether you wanted it to be blue, sorry, um, pink. I personally like white, but yeah, you can change the colors as you can see here. Definitely some nice colors there. So that's a very nice one as well.
Mhm. Could you also highlight text in shape, Phil? I know there's Sazia from the audience also wants to know how to make those kind of pipelines and text pipelines. So if you go to text in shape,
Yep. 1 second here. So as you can see, insert shape, text shape,
and then maybe one of the square ones.
right there.
Yep. You can really easily create these
Oh, sorry
text in
about that.
shapes. Type what you need to and then kind of combine those with the arrows that Phil highlighted earlier to probably recreate the image that you shared in maybe around 10 minutes.
We could also use one of our keyboard shortcuts. My favorite one. And it's that easy.
I hope that answered your question. Let us know if you have any more. Yeah, so there's a question saying, could you run through the epithelial cell brush icon, how to take it apart and play around with different parts of it? So maybe you could go to the bio brushes, bring up one of the cell ones. Oh, you would just have to go under bio brushes right there.
Yep. Sorry about that.
And then just drag one of the cells out.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe that
Let's go
one.
ahead with this one. Yep. Yeah, so as you can see, you can just drag it out like so on this blue node here. If you did want to kind of modify it even more, you could use this white one, and you'll keep seeing nodes pop up as you do move it.
Yep. And then could you also highlight how to change it to a grouped icon and then change the color? So you can go under brush options
So right
on the top.
here,
Yep.
yep,
And then just click on separate brush into editable icons
there we go.
over there. Just to let the audience know, this isn't a reversible action. So I would recommend that you finish forming the line or whatever membrane that you want ahead of time before pressing confirm. So you can press confirm right now.
Yep, there we go.
And then now it turns into a grouped icon. So you can double click on parts of yep, and then change any of the colors there. It's a really cool option actually for the enterocyte brushes for anyone in immunology and kind of working in that space. The color option actually comes with damaged epithelial as well. So really great way to convey those disease states if you need to. I hope that answered your question, Lisa.
Yeah, great question.
And you can regroup it by, Phil will show you right now, just highlighting everything and pressing group again.
There we go. Group. There we have it. Awesome. Any other questions? I know we're coming up on time here shortly, so I do want to kind of get to everybody. If we can't get to you today, please do reach out to us on chat, as mentioned earlier, right here,
Mhm.
or you can reach out at support@biorender.com. Were there any other questions? I could dive into pricing a bit and show everybody.
Um,
Yep.
Yeah, one last question. Maybe you can highlight again how to generate citations. So just to let everyone know, if you are on a free account, you can't use it for publications, but you can use it for educational purposes, which includes lab meetings, let's say lecture presentations, things like posters. If you do publish with it, you do have to generate a citation, which you can click on there. All you have to do is include create-with-biorender.com. In your favorite captions or acknowledgements or journals have different, I guess, requirements. So whatever really makes sense, you can include that created-with-biorender.com to cite it. Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, thank you. Alrighty. So I will quickly kind of go back to the BioRender website if no one has any other questions. Alrighty. And we'll just dive into pricing a little bit. So as I mentioned, we do have a free version on the left-hand side here. You can see it. You can sign up for free. It does limit you to 5 illustrations, but you're not able to use it for publications. We do also offer an individual license, a lab license. The lab license does include 5 seats. And if you do want to add seats, it is an extra $20 per month per seat. As mentioned earlier, it is a good idea to just check in with your IT department or your department chair or anything like that to see if you do already have an institutional license. There's a pretty high chance you do, so definitely want to take advantage of that. But if you don't, and you do want to learn more about our institutional and departmental licenses, please do reach out to us, and we'll definitely get in touch and show you how that works. If there aren't any other questions, I think we could probably wrap up there. Um, we do really appreciate you guys taking your time today and joining us, learning about BioRender. We do want to hear about your stories and how you're using it after our webinar today, so please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Francesca, or support@biorender.com. So I will pop in my email to the chat. And you can kind of reach out to me if you do have any questions. Happy to answer those.
Hi, and I will say general questions. Support at BioRender.com is probably the best place to do it. I know, Michael, you mentioned pricing would be great for institutional, and Phil would be your guy to inquire about that.
Perfect. Alrighty. Yeah, happy holidays, everybody. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll give you 3 more minutes back in your day here.